That's perfect.
It's lovely of you to ask me.
Well, no, it's just great. I just can't wipe the smile off my face, Tim. So thank you so much. Really.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Michael.
And I think we should start the conversation. Somebody's written a book.
Mm.
And you may have heard of it.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Is it any good?
Well, yes, it's actually, you know, when you make that declaration, I'm never going to buy another non-duality book again.
Yeah, I do know that. I said it many times. It didn't stop me though.
Yeah, well, you've made me go back on my word because
wow, that's great.
Yeah, it just speaks to me in a way that I just can't explain. It touches me. And he says, yes, that's how I feel. I feel the same way Tim does. And it's so rare to hear it spoken. I mean, like you said, it could have been my words. That's why I post your rubbish in my awakening community. Because I'm like, well, Jesus Christ, the guy's saying it, but he's just saying it better than me.
I love it that you post it. It's great.
Well, and again, your background is a teacher, is that correct?
Yeah, I'm a physical education teacher, phys ed, as you might call it.
Okay, and what grade?
Yeah, high school.
Okay, so I've been
senior school, 11 to 18.
Yes. Okay, so I've been a little lower. My kids were younger. I taught, I still do, except the schools are all closed. But I've been an after-school chess teacher. You know, have those after-school programs where they have arts and crafts and all kinds of things. So I've been teaching chess for over 25 years in schools.
Oh wow! You're not a grandmaster or anything, are you?
No. Although I have written 3 chess books, I'm not a grandmaster. They're for beginners. I wrote 3 beginner chess books, and
well, how lovely! You see, that's a different experience of teaching than I'm talking about, because you only taught the kids who wanted to be there.
Well, it's interesting because I actually saw something right before my eyes that you've talked about, and I'm talking about. He was in, I want to say, the 1st grade, and it was this little Asian boy, and he stood out to me from all the other kids because he had a glow and a smile and a happiness about him. And every time I'd walk up, he would look at me with this beautiful glowing grin, never say a word. And I just fell in love with the boy. And I would play with him. You know, I would say, look, if you don't behave, I'm going to put you in the trash can. And he would go, put me in the trash can, put me in the trash can. So, of course, I would pick him up by his ankles, and his mother took a picture where I'm holding him over the trash can, and he loved it. And that was when he was in 1st grade and just starting out. But you know what, Tim? I noticed as the years went by, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, he's getting a little older now, that began to go away. That carefree, he began, I noticed, being more serious. He began getting his feelings hurt and crying kind of a lot. And it was amazing, the shift when that innocence he began to care what other kids thought of him.
Yeah. And the self-consciousness, that's the big thing. I mean, it is, as a teenager, is very much, but self-consciousness appears quite early in childhood, really. I've got 2 young boys. One's 2 years old, just coming up to 2, and one's 6. And the big difference between them is the 2-year-old, he has a tiny little embryonic self, so he knows who he is. He knows he can respond to his name, and he says me. But it's tiny. It's only a small part of life, you could say. Whereas my 6-year-old son, he's very self-conscious. You know, he won't. You ask him to dance now. The difference between dancing and, you know, doing a little show that he would have done easily, even when he was 4 years old.
Yeah.
He's very self-conscious now, and serious, because that self-consciousness creates a seriousness of life that wow, it's stifling. It's so inhibiting.
It really is. And it was so dramatic in him. When I saw that glow, literally it kind of went away. He didn't really have it anymore.
No.
Yeah, it was
I would say the glow, if you want to call it, if we want to call, we could call life the glow if you want. It doesn't matter what words we use, but the glow never goes away, but self seemingly masks it because it's afraid of it. I can get hurt because he's been hurt. He now has memories. He has a self that's been hurt, like you said. He'd maybe been picked on by other kids, and he's afraid of being humiliated. Self is terrified of humiliation. You know, it's probably one of the biggest fears. Anything that I feel might damage my very vulnerable sense of self.
yeah. You can think back in school when we were kids, the worst thing was to be embarrassed in front of you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Have your trousers pulled down in front of your classmates. Yeah.
That's it. And then there is, you may remember that for 50 years.
You never, yeah. So, yeah, that's always there. That's a possibility. I now know that's a possibility, and I must ward against, I must be wary that that doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a constant low-level anxiety for all selves.
Yeah.
Greater or lesser. And it's very noticeable at the moment. If you had a relatively high level of anxiety before, with all the news saying life is terribly dangerous now, there's danger, unseen danger everywhere. Anxiety for selves who suffer with anxiety is awful at the moment.
Yeah.
It's just dreadful because they're constantly being fed that they should be. It's actually, all the news is saying is that you're right to be very afraid.
Well, not only that, but every day let us give you more reasons. Let's count the deaths. Let's count your town and see how many people are dropping. That'll make you feel good.
Yeah, I know.
And then,
of course, really nothing has changed. I mean, it's another virus on top of 1,000 other viruses.
Yeah.
So, and it seems a particularly bad one, but it's as if there's a whole new world order because of a virus, as though it's it's never occurred before. It's and that of course creates massive fear.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, but like you said, it's not really new. All it's doing is it's putting death right here, and now it's harder to distract myself.
That's it. And what self always wants to do is distract itself from the most obvious fact of life, which is death.
Yeah. There's I don't know if you remember Woody Allen, the comedian, but there's a famous scene in Annie Hall where his mother takes him to the psychiatrist as a kid. And she says, tell the doctor what you told me. And the little, that little actor, a little boy actor with glasses that look like Woody Allen. And the little boy blurts out, there's an asteroid coming directly for Earth and we're all going to blow up. And the mother interrupts and says, and what business of that is yours?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, what self does, you could say one of the main strategies self has, because it fears death most, well, it's second from most, actually. It feels its annihilation the most, but because you can still tell a story of my continuation after death.
Yeah.
And self is much happier with that, of course. But death is still, underlies all the other anxieties, all the other fears.
Yeah. Yeah, and it took me a while to get, because I had heard you say, well, there's one thing that the me fears worse than death. And that didn't click right away. I had to really sit with that. And then it finally hit me. I go, yeah, fine. At least I got to live, and maybe I can continue, but don't tell me I never existed.
Exactly. Don't tell me I'm not living.
Yeah.
That's so much worse than death.
Yeah. Yeah. So in this interview or conversation, I just wanted to go back and talk about for a second, what were you like as a kid?
Well, I'm sitting at my mum's. I should get her in. She's laughing.
I heard her laugh. That was
yeah, good. You can. Shall we ask her? Shall we ask her?
Get her on. Get her on. They love her.
If I ask what you were like as a kid, that's I don't know. It's probably best to ask somebody who watched you as a kid.
Well, I have a few thoughts.
Yeah, I'll tell you mine first. I was very inquisitive. I wanted to know. You could say I was a seeker. So I was always escaping. You know, parents try to imprison their children so that they keep them safe. Keep them safe. Exactly. Well, kids don't want to be kept safe. Kids want to explore. So I was an explorer. I was very hyperactive. I didn't sit still. I was always outside playing.
Always doing.
So sport. When I was a young child, I used to live in my sand pit. I had a big sand pit outside, a play sand, and I'd just build fantasy worlds out of sand and live in there. And then a bit older, then I got into sport, and my dad was a sportsman, my brother was a sportsman. And so it was, I just loved, I was very social, always had a group of friends round. At some points we'd have up to 25, 30 kids in our garden. We were spoiled. We had a big garden, big enough for a soccer pitch. And we'd have a full-size football match in our garden. Fishing. I grew up in a very rural environment. I had a lot of freedom. So it was the 60s and then the early 70s. So I was free to roam, really. And I roamed much like a feral child, coming home for food. Just coming home for food. I did a lot of building dens.
I was just going to say.
I did a lot of. Mum's excited now because she wants to tell you. So I'll let Mum see what Mum says. Say hello to Michael.
Hello.
Mike.
Hi.
So lovely. How are you?
Yeah, tell us about Tim.
Well, as a little boy, he was adorable. I loved him, but so strong-willed. And he would build these dens when he was about 7 or 8. Fantastic. I would suddenly find my little doormat, it had gone, or something else out of the pantry, biscuits and cake and things like that. And they'd be in this den, and he would charge his friends to come in this den. That is true, isn't it, Tim?
Yeah, that is. What a bastard.
He was.
So he was a right proper entrepreneur.
I was.
He was, and yet he isn't at all. Money isn't his god at all. Anyway, he was adorable, but he would have this love of people, and all his friends would come and play in the garden and come in and have drinks and things, and he would always, I'd say, I'm afraid I can't keep giving all these 30 children drinks because I haven't enough penny. But he was a lovely, lovely little boy, but so annoying, never ever switching off.
So annoying.
A bit like me.
Anything else?
No, Michael, he was lovely. I loved him to bits.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Past tense there, notice, Michael.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, we've got role reversal now. She's reliant on me now, you see.
It comes full circle, doesn't it?
It's get your own back time. They say that late middle age is, you know, is bad, but if your parents are still alive, it's great because you get, you know, it's payback time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now I'm in charge.
So
No, you're not.
Tim, what is your mother's name?
Pam.
Pam. Yeah, Pam. So
Yes.
Pam, start inviting all your friends over and let Tim serve them.
Yes.
Oh no, I like that though.
He would like that. Yeah.
Oh, he would like that. Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do. Yeah. I'm looking forward to when we can do that again. It'd be nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we can't.
I so miss not meeting up with.
Yeah.
I'm still very sociable.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this I used to have satsang here. The West LA satsang used to meet right.
Yeah, I
me.
saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just been empty for the last year. But there's been a blessing because going online, I have to say I've met people from all over the world that I would have never met.
No, it's so true. I would have never done the Zoom meetings. I started in March when the lockdown started. I thought, well, I'm not going to do any meetings. You know, my idea was that I'd do some more meetings in London and try and, you know, get known a little bit and get a few more people come to see me. But that was not going to happen. So I thought, well, I'll do Zoom, and it's been brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. Me too. Best thing.
Yeah.
It was by request. It wasn't my idea. It was before the lockdown. A young lady from India said, Michael, you know, I'd like to, you know, attend your satsangs. And I didn't feel comfortable putting a camera in here because it was very intimate. People were sharing and I had candles.
Yeah, I know.
And it just didn't feel right. So I always said no. But for some reason, when she asked me, the timing felt right. And I said, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. Let's try it. Let's give it a whirl. And best decision ever.
Yeah. Yeah. I was I was quite reluctant to do it, really. I didn't really fancy it. But then as soon as I'd done it, then it was, yeah, I've done it every week since almost a year now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then people said, can you do 2 a week? So I've done 2. And then people said, do 3 a week. And I said, no.
Yeah, I need to
3.
rest.
3's too many.
I think it is because it's just human nature. If something's too available, it just sort of loses its luster. So.
Yeah. And I find it quite draining as well.
Me too. Yeah, I'm tired. Yeah.
Yeah, very tired. Yeah.
Yeah. People don't realize, you know, it's.
No, it's like all the energy is gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
I sleep like a log. I sleep so deeply after a meeting.
I'm so jealous because in fact, last night I didn't sleep hardly at all. I have the worst, my whole life I've had insomnia.
Oh, bless you. I do feel for you for that.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was thinking when I was, you know, you and I talk about trying to fit in, to do the right thing. I remember being a little boy and being over at grandma's and sleeping over on her couch. And I remember, you know, I had insomnia even then. I didn't know it was insomnia. I just knew I couldn't sleep. And I remember her walking in to check on me, and being a good boy, I just faked like I was sleeping.
Yeah, you pretended, yeah.
Yeah, just to please her. And she kissed me on the forehead and tucked me back in. Yeah.
And so you've always had real problems sleeping.
I can't explain it. It's just always been there as far as I can remember, just something in me not wanting to go to sleep. I don't know what that is.
No, I don't know. If I was guessing, I'd just say it's because the only time I don't sleep when I've really struggled was when I would have anxiety.
Yeah, this isn't that.
And then it's those just repetitive thoughts. And the level of arousal, bodily arousal created by those thoughts just is not conducive to sleep, because your body's saying, well, you need to keep alert because there's danger.
Yeah. Well, but it's funny because I'm like, I want to go to dead sleep. I want that. That's what we crave. In fact, that brings us to another topic that you and I think it's kind of rare because reincarnation is such a, a bestseller in the spiritual world.
Yeah.
But I've always thought of death as being like deep sleep and just not waking.
That's exactly it. You took the words out of my mouth, Michael. They are. Well, what else would it be? For me, when anyone asks me about it, I'm always amazed that they even question it. It's just like, well, no one knows. Obviously, you can't know. That's obvious. But if you were guessing, surely you would guess it's going to sleep and not waking up. Surely, isn't that what it would be?
Yeah.
It just seems, and I mean, I wouldn't ever say anyone's got it wrong if they say otherwise, because there's no knowing. But I don't know, it's just like the obvious.
Yeah, but I think, Tim, we do know. It's the me coming up with another story to continue its.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Well, what me won't have, and if you say to selves, which I do quite frequently, that you do, I say quite frequently, you do know you die every night, don't you? You do know that.
Yeah.
And they go, well, no, I don't. I said, well, where are you? Where are you in deep sleep? Mum just shouted dead.
Good. A+.
She's been listening to me now for nearly a year, so she wouldn't have said this stuff in the past.
Funny.
Funny, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been lovely. Mum's been very generous, because this is a radical thing for your son to be doing.
Sure.
The way I speak, and yet she's accepted it as fine.
That's great.
Yeah, it is great. And not everyone. That's because she can. It's not her that she can. It's just how it is. She's, it's no big. It doesn't feel threatening to her at all. Whereas for a lot of souls, they get a little scent of this, and it's they get a whiff of the what it's actually saying.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things that struck me when I was pretty young, was I noticed about a chessboard. I don't know if you're familiar. I think you know how to play chess. I've heard you actually mention.
I know how to play chess.
Yeah.
I was put off at a very early age by my much cleverer and elder brother, teaching me chess, and then just enjoying annihilating me every time. So I never played chess from the age of 12 onwards, really.
Well, for me, I had fond memories because I remember on rainy days at school, you could take your lunch and go into a room, and there would be a board games on there, and I would always pick chess. And it's just something very soothing about listening to the rain and eating your lunch as a kid and getting lost in a chess game.
Yeah, nice.
But what occurred to me, so the reason I ask is, are you familiar with what's called algebraic notation? Around the edges of the chessboard, it's numbered A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and 1, 2, 3. Just like a map. Think of a map.
I do know what you mean, but I wouldn't know what they represent. Well,
map has coordinates. That's how you find latitude and longitude where the points connect.
Yeah, so I'm good with maps because I taught geography.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so and I usually have to say that if the kids don't know. I say, well, you look at a map, and how do you find California? Well, you link the two lines, and voila, where they intersect is California. And it occurred to me that for chess, so if you want to move your knight, you could say knight E7, and that tells everybody right out the gate where the knight goes, E7. And the kids in the beginning, they'll say, well, move it up to the right. I go, well, that doesn't tell me. There's 4 squares. You got to be very specific.
Yeah.
And so it occurred to me at some point, I remember being pretty stunned by thinking, well, okay, I can locate any position on the chessboard because I can get to the edges, and then I can triangulate, you know, inward to find. But where's here? How do I find out where I am? What do I go out and triangulate? Where's the edges of the universe that I can come in and pinpoint where here is? And it suddenly hit me, I don't know where the hell here is.
No, that's good. Well, of course, we can do it on Earth, okay, can't we? But we can say where we are on Earth, but in space, oh no.
Well, where the hell's Earth?
Well, exactly, yeah. What I mean is we can say where we are on the Earth, because the Earth seems to have an edge to it. It only seems to, but it seems to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no, we can say there's only here, but that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, but it's like your thing with death. People just, when we share this, I say, well, where is here? And they just go, well, okay. I mean, it doesn't really stop them in their tracks like it did me.
No, because they've not, no, because self knows where it is. When there's a sense of I know, if I'm really sure I know who I am, then I know where I am as well.
Yeah.
And I know my feet are on the ground, and I know the ground, and I know the sky, and I know the neighbors, you know, I know. It's just that from one concrete knowing, which is I know who I am, I'm me.
Yeah.
Everything's reality is always inferred from that.
Yeah.
All the rest of reality is real, simply, very simply, because I am real. And if me becomes even a little transparent, a little less real, it gets scared very quickly and angry and reactive.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we've both talked about that. Don't talk about this to me.
No.
It gets pissed.
Yeah. I only talk, so I used to, when I was, initially there was quite an evangelistic feel about this. And, you know, you want to tell everybody because it feels compassionate and it feels everyone should know, you know, everyone needs to know this. Well, the harsh reality is most will not know it, cannot know it, will not go anywhere near it.
Don't want to know.
No, fortunately, most people it doesn't even register. So you're quite safe speaking about it. They just go, oh yes, some rubbish. It's just nonsense. Ignore it. And it's completely ignored. So they're fine. But the ones who it's not me that hears it, but there's some resonance, but there's a lot of resistance, a lot of fear, then, well, they're the they're the people to not speak about this, because I have told this story, but I still like a drink, and I was in the pub and I'd had a few beers. So somebody asked me about what am I doing now? So I told them, and I started talking about non-duality. And then without me even knowing what I'm saying, next thing I know, my mate's got me by the throat and he's got me up against the wall because I've said he doesn't exist, you see.
Yeah, that's offensive to me.
It's the ultimate offense, isn't it?
Well, tell a kid, you know, when you're a teenager and one kid says to the other, you're nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fighting words.
You just think of what the things, how to get in a fight. You're nobody. Bam. You're nothing.
Yeah.
Well, the fist is already coming.
How dare.
Yeah, how dare you, yeah.
So that is it, that sense of solidity, that I'm so sure of who I am. And if it's okay, I'm just going to share with you like whatever pops into my head.
Yeah, sure.
So
hold on a sec, Mike, before you start, Michael. I just popped to the kitchen.
Go ahead.
Yeah, another cup of coffee, Michael, is just one of my many addictions.
Yeah, that is another way that you resonated, and I think for a lot of people, not just me, was that, thank you, Pam, you broke kind of the traditional guy up high that people couldn't really relate to.
Yeah.
And it was so refreshing to hear, drinking and swearing and saying, look, it's ordinary. It's not highfalutin.
No, it's not. Well, and I haven't consciously, though, there hasn't been an effort to do that. It's just, for me, it's exactly the opposite of how it's normally portrayed, which is some radical change in character, some radical change in the way life is, the way of being. It's not. Life is exactly the same. And whatever this human being is just being liberated from the shackles, from the illusory jailer. That's all. So the freedom isn't for me, but from me. I mean, it is that simple. So yeah, I'm not a better person.
But in a way, that gives
You
the
can ask
people watching.
anybody.
But that gives the people watching you, I can't tell you, Tim, the freedom that.
Yeah, well, for me, that is what I want to say. Yeah, the freedom is all in that. You're already free. There isn't. It's just that it's not you who is you. You are the seeming imprisonment. The freedom is here, for want of a better word. The freedom is always. This is free. You're the illusion that you're not.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I can speak, I can speak for ages about this, but really there's nothing to be said. Or you could say it, I could say what I really want to say in 2 minutes. And life is simply as it is. I could just leave it at that, actually. I mean, life is simply as it is the whole message. And so if life feels as though it's my life, that is how it is. That is, even though the bit that I can then speak about, but that's illusory. There isn't that one. It's the one is the illusion.
Yeah.
There aren't any ones. There aren't any no ones either. I think that gets misheard. Because somebody called me a no one the other day, which is like, I don't get offended like I would have done and want to punch them in the face, like my mum in the pub. But there really aren't any. There aren't any no ones any more than there are any ones. Yeah. Because of course the whole no one idea comes from me fearing being no one. That's all that means. This is just pure not knowing.
Yeah.
So if anyone asks me, well, what are you then? there's no, the great freedom and the peace is in there's no need to know. There's no desire to know. All that longing, all that desire that I must, in order to be fulfilled, I must realize that, I must know that, I must become complete with something else, because I'm separate. And in the absence of that need, there just is, there's no knowing, there's no saying.
Yeah.
That's what you could call the mystery. That's why this can sound very mystical, because it is a mystery in that it can't be answered. There aren't any answers. So therefore it's a mystery. But mystery sounds mysterious. This is not a mysterious. This, whatever this life is not mysterious. It's absolutely known and absolutely obvious without any need for knowledge or understanding. Here it is. It's just blindingly obvious, it's in your face. It can't be missed, it's never missed. But tell all the people, you know, all the people who are seeking, and all they're just saying is that, well, I haven't got it yet. That's the only seeming barrier, the only seeming veil is, I'm separate from it, I haven't got it yet. But there is a future in which I can get it.
That's it. Yeah. And I've heard you say before, there's it's not that there's no me, because there would have had to be a me that became a no me, and that's not what you're saying.
No, not at all. How would you know me? I mean, that's funnier. I mean, it's me's hilarious. The whole notion of me is hilarious, but because it's so deeply conditioned, you know, we've just accepted that from very early childhood. We've had it rammed down our throats, haven't we? Meanness, you know, we know. So everyone else told you who you were. So you had to infer that all those knowledgeable adults must know something that I don't. So you know, it's virtually impossible not to take on this really profound, deeply felt bodily sense of, so this sense of aliveness that this body has, I don't have it, but that is me. So this sense of being, this sense of whatever words resonate, aliveness, beingness, energy, just life, that's me.
Yeah.
And this aliveness is separate from all the other aliveness. Well, that's not really how it is. But boy, that conviction becomes so compelling that it's very hard to shake. I would go as far as to say that it's impossible, absolutely impossible, for me to, you know, shake that off, because I'm not in the game of my own non-existence. Yeah. There's what would be in that for me? Well, your non-existence. Well, me can't go there. How could it?
No, one of the things that I think both of us have said in our own way is, what happens when the me isn't there anymore? I say nothing. It's not replaced. And that's one of the things the me is looking to do. Well, what will happen after I'm not there? Well,
absolutely, yeah.
Nothing. You wouldn't know.
No, I just said, well, there was so everyone wants to know your awakening story, your liberation story. So before and after. So, you know, how was it? And I said there was no event. There was really no event at all, and there hasn't been any event since. There hasn't been any deepening. There hasn't been. It's just empty. And the only thing that was really very well, I say two things that were very recognizable was emptiness and the peace that emptiness was. And that's it. But there's no recognition. No, because there isn't. No, me is not a thing any more than me was. But the absence of that energy of fear, really. Oh, the other thing with the emptiness, the absence of fear, and a lot of sorrow. I had a lot of mourning.
Yeah.
A lot. I've had a lot of tears.
Now, that is one of the differences between us, even though I've said we have a lot of similarities in our take. For me, I didn't, because I've heard you talk about this before on several occasions, about how your me kind of was kicking and screaming the whole way.
Yeah.
That's not the experience here. I didn't have that. It was, I just couldn't wait.
No, well, I said I couldn't wait. Till it came to it. And then it's a bit like, I tell you what it's like. It's a bit like taking a little kid. So the little kid says he wants to go and see the tigers.
Mm.
And he gets taken to the zoo and he's all excited. But when he gets there, what he didn't realize is that the tigers were going to eat him and rip him apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit like that.
Yeah.
So when it came to it, I was screaming, "Get me out of here!" Yeah. Yeah, and that went on and on. It wasn't a quick death. It wasn't like being beheaded.
Right.
It was like being mauled over and over.
But you yourself have even said that each one's unique, so it runs.
Yeah, I think so.
The
Oh,
gamut.
I don't think. I try not to speak about it, but I will. I won't not speak about it, because then it seems like making it almost more special. If you refuse to speak about it, it's like, oh, there's something very mystical if you won't speak about it.
Yeah. Well,
so if I get asked, then I always speak about it. But if I'm just speaking, I never mention it, really.
well, like with Tony Parsons, the me, if it hears Tony, the famous, well, where's the park?
Yeah. Well, where mine is, because it's on the front of the book. That's the park. That's where you can go. You can go there.
Yeah. I got to tell you, Tim, I look at this and I just see a man sitting in his shorts on some rocks. So it's just so funny that to the Tim, this was a very powerful, and I know what it is, because I thought places were imbued with.
Yeah, you know how it is for me.
Yeah.
Me makes a place very special.
Yeah.
You could do it. Self does it in 100 different ways, but usually it's either a place or a person. They're the two things. When I'm in the presence of my guru, the great one, someone really special with a special gift. So I need to be in their presence over and over again, because this happened in their presence. So their presence was the catalyst.
Yeah.
And likewise with that place. So you could say, my first and really only very profound spiritual experience, I would say. Other ones have lesser, but really mind-blowingly, I became a seeker from that, you could say. That was because it was literally felt like the veil being lifted. And I went in searching. It can't just be me. I want to know. So what was that? What's that? What's it saying? What's its significance? Because of course, self is always looking for significance as well.
Yeah.
This happened. What does that mean? Well, it doesn't mean anything at all. It's just something else. It's no different to drinking a cup of tea. But to me, it was you make it special, and then you try and recreate it.
Yeah.
And of course, there isn't actually anything to recreate. So to say that's futile is an understatement.
Right.
To go back and try and replay and revisit and relive.
Right. But that was the longing. There was something in you that was like, no, this is, it's intuitive. You feel it. And one of the things I love about your Zooms, and I've said the same thing on mine, is that it felt so good, Tim, to have a place with others that were, well, for lack of a better word, like me.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Well, that's really what I went in search of. So when after awakening, I was reading books so that I would get some affirmation that I wasn't crazy, that this has happened to others, and that there's others like me. Yeah. And now I have the desire for that is much less. I still enjoy it though. I love the sharing. There's something joyous in sharing this, even though it doesn't mean anything. There's just pleasure in it. Because I get asked, why do you do it? You said it's meaningless and pointless. Well, why the hell are you doing this then? I said, because I like it.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
I like doing this and I like playing golf, so I do both.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing else that I find is interesting.
No. And I said, there is another reason, is compassion.
Yeah.
It is
Absolutely.
compassion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially, it's only compassion for the few. It's not compassion for the many. It's compassion for the few, because this message is only heard by the few. That's very obvious. And although that's only a story, you only have to look at the numbers. And if it's about a spiritual path and a spiritual journey, then there's hundreds of thousands of followers, millions of followers. And if it's about there is no path and there is no journey, then there's a tiny, tiny few who that resonates with. But for those few, wow, how compassionate is it that there's a place where there's just open just to listen or to share, and you just with others who go, oh yeah, it's not just me.
Yeah. I was saying this the other night on one of my Zoom meetings. I said, there's, I don't know how many, probably hundreds of thousands of meetups for me's. I mean, you name the topic, there's a meetup.
Yeah.
I said,
Yeah.
But where's the meetup for? There was. I said.
Well, that's why I continued to go to see Tony Parsons regularly, because it was just the best meetup, because Tony would get about 100 people, maybe 150. And so it was just the best meetup. It's just, can you imagine how brilliant that would be?
I could, because I know other people have commented too, but I saw you on that Dream Bus Live in the audience.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
No, but you were smiling and laughing. You would look like you didn't want to be anywhere else.
No, this is one of the best weekends I've ever had.
Yeah, you were having a great time. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to be in the pub with Kenneth Madden and Paul Morgan Summers and Richard Sylvester and Lisa Cairns, and we're just all in the pub all evening. It was brilliant.
Wow.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
I know, right?
Yeah. So maybe something like that will happen again, because you can't. The Zooms are great, but they're not. There is a totally different energy in being being with others.
Yeah,
there is.
All right, let me just check and see if there's anything. The emptiness is the peace.
The emptiness is the what?
The emptiness is the peace.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, they're just two words of speaking about what can't be spoken about. Because then everyone says, well, what do you mean by empty? I said, I don't know, empty. Yeah. It's empty inside. Yeah. So the emptiness is just all pervading. So there's absolutely that's the end of the boundary, the illusion that there's a boundary between me and everything else. I mean, it really isn't. And again, it isn't the noticing that the boundary isn't there anymore. There's just emptiness. So I was always looking or waiting until I knew the absence of separation. So the absence of, okay, so now it's obvious that there's no boundary between me and everything else. Well, of course, that's not how it is, because in the absence of me, you can't notice the absence of something that isn't there.
Yeah.
So there's no noticing. So just everything, it's just all empty. And if I explain it, I just say, well, empty inside and empty outside. There's no inside and outside. But I'm I'm actually creating that. That's not how it feels. It feels, so how does this feel? Completely empty, full of everything that is happening, everything that is, but all of that happening, all of the appearance, everything has a quality of emptiness that it never had before, and yet it's very obvious that it is exactly the same as it was before. It's not any different.
Yeah.
Because you know, it's not like the I don't know. So you could say there's touch and feel, and touch and feel is without me holding this, without it being me, this is me and that is that, this is me, this is something else. There's just the feel, and the feel is, you can't say where it is. It's got no location, and yet it's nothing special. It's nothing. It's just not. The thing is, this is the. I think I cried a lot, or there were so many tears, because this was the absolute impossibility of specialness. That there was no chance that Tim could ever be special, and he had tried really hard to be special, like other special ones that he, you know, decided that they were special. And so there's a mourning, you know, with me, everyone else dies as well. So no one dies, but without self, there are no other selves. So all the others who I'd made special, they're absolutely ordinary human beings. The ordinariness is overwhelming. You know, that there can't be any special ones, because everything's empty, and the emptiness just lays everything flat.
Yeah. And then I have to say, when I go for walks and I look at the butterflies on the flowers, they're so beautiful. The fragility.
Oh, yeah.
If you look at a butterfly and the colors and how it dances, I just get mesmerized.
Oh, yeah, me too. Just like a child. Yeah, it's like being 4 or 5 years old again. Yeah.
But I'm so happy. Like everything else is blocked out, and I'm just in the world of the butterfly.
Yeah.
Like this morning, I opened my medicine cabinet, and there was a daddy. I don't know how he got in there, but there was a daddy long-legged spider just hanging, just there. And I think the old, the natural old tendency would have been, get a Kleenex and smush it and flush it in the toilet. No way, Jose. I grabbed a cup and I put the cup underneath him, and he fell in the cup. And then I went outside here to I live one story up on the second floor, and I just throw him out over the lawn, and he like parachuted, like the legs open up, and he just helicoptered down. And it was like that. And it was so beautiful, because that is life too. Why would I think I'm better than that spider?
No. No. And no, it's true. Everything is equal, yeah. Everything is equally empty, and there is only emptiness, and everything is absolutely equal. This is the great equality, which it can never be for me, because I'm always adjusting comparison. I'm either superior or inferior, always, to everything else. So, you know, I squash ants because they're inferior, or daddy long legs, I can squish them, they're inferior to me. But I revere my teacher, because she's special. I've made her into something wonderful.
Yeah.
Or I'm attracted to the butterfly, so I love the butterfly, but the spider I think is disgusting and ugly. And so one I squash, and one I you know, I treat as holy almost. You know, it's like, it's almost the good and evil thing, really.
Yeah.
I have to say, one of the great reliefs is the impossibility of seeing anything as inherently good or evil.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's one that you've shared that people don't really get, because you've often said there is no right and wrong. Oh, you can dislike things. You can like certain things and not like others, but to say it's right or wrong.
No. Well, that's just what me does. Me, it plays God. That's it. And I'm not content with playing God because I don't have enough power. So I create God. So human beings have created God because they can only control this little bit, and they want some controller over the universe. So they've contrived they've contrived together, all the me's, you know, as a society, to contrive God to control everything that you can appease, and you can, and then you feel a little bit safer. And it's all about the vulnerability of self, at the root of all of that. And the great paradox is the invulnerability only or seeming invulnerability only comes from the total vulnerability of life. It makes no sense to me, but the fact that human beings are no less vulnerable than that daddy long legs, none at all. That's a complete illusion that self tells itself. There's no superiority. There's no greater control. No more significance. So all the freedom is in the insignificance.
Yeah.
And amazingly, so is the love. Whoever told us? No one told me that insignificance is love. Because all significance is doing is saying that's worthy of my love because that's significant. That's not worthy of my love because it's not significant. Yeah. It's insignificant. So there's no love for that. Whereas the utter equality is in the total insignificance of everything. And in that, there really is no, again, completely paradoxically, when everything is equally insignificant, everything is equally significant. There's no difference. You know, your life and the daddy long legs life, one is not greater than the other.
That's right. Only me claims that this life is more important than that.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. And really, there's only one important life, and that's mine.
By the way, I don't know if you saw, but I had left you a book review.
I haven't seen it yet. No, I should have a look.
Yeah, a while ago. It's actually, I'm the only one that left a video. There's like a 10-second.
No, of course I did see it because you said I've given it a shout. Yeah, sorry, Michael, I did. Yeah, because you're the only one who said, yeah, spontaneously given Tim Cliss's new book a shout out. Yeah, which that was great. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, well I have to say, and I wrote in my review, I said the thing about you that I found so attractive, and if you see my last video from last week, it said if you can think it or you can say it, it's a concept. And then I put all the juicy ones from the spiritual life. I put God, the witness, I am, consciousness, awareness, because again, you were one of the few speakers that felt like I did, and not right away, because there was a time where I used to talk about consciousness and awareness too, but I came to see those as concepts.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they just, I haven't deliberately not used those. They just don't resonate, and they never did. So I would go to see a speaker, and they started speaking, and the first 10 minutes, all they spoke about was consciousness. And I've fallen asleep. It's just like, well, I don't know. I have no, it was the they might as well have been speaking, I don't know, quantum physics. You know, it's just like, oh, you're just talking heady. It's just heady. It's just all mind stuff, you know. You have to really work hard to create any idea what consciousness means.
Well, that's it. I have never seen it. I was saying this at our last meeting. And when I said the witness, that really caused an upset at my last talk. There was,
oh, did it?
Yeah, because they said, somebody had said, well, no, of course, because we're the witness. And that's, you know, I'm like you, I just can't, there's something in me that I can't let that go. Like, I have to point, I said, well, I've never found this witness. So I don't know.
You can look, and there's a great game for me to play. So I'm no longer me, my egoic self. I'm now detached. So I've taken my true self away from my egoic self, and now I'm standing somewhere over here, aloof and detached. It's so superior. It's the most. I mean, no wonder self likes that idea. I mean, it's always been popular. That idea has always been really popular because I'm now superior, aren't I, to all those lower selves with a higher self, looking down from the heights of witness. You know, it's so grandiose. No wonder it's popular.
Yeah. So the funny thing is, though, I say, so when you look, what do you see? And it's so funny. It's so amazing that when people, and this is another thing I think you and I seem eye to eye on, is about the self-inquiry should not take 10 years. You can look a couple of times, see there's no I there, and be done with it. But I think the I turns it into this game of, well, let me keep looking. I just got to look a little deeper.
Yeah, of course. Well, all it says is, well, I haven't found it yet.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm not doing it quite right. But if I practice, because I practiced playing chess and I got better, and I practiced playing golf and I got better. So if I practice, make it my practice, who am I, every day, 2 hours meditation, then of course I'll get better, won't I? Because practice makes perfect, and I will arrive at who I am. Now, I don't know what Ramana meant, but I'm guessing he meant just look and just see that there's nothing to find. That's, I can't think he meant anything else, but there we go.
Well, maybe. Look how, let me give you an analogy. If I said to you, Tim, could you go in the closet, please, and take out my umbrella? And you open up the closet and there's no umbrella in there. And you come back and say, well, Michael, I didn't see one. No, it's in there. How many friggin' times would you need to keep looking before you walked out of my house?
Yeah. But what self says is, of course, self says, well, you know, it's in disguise. It's well, of course, if I'm going to be special like Ramana or who else is teaching me this, because they've obviously found self, true self, then I just need to practice and get to where they've got to, because they're at a place which is a special place. Again, it's all about specialness.
Yes.
And there's no special place.
That is it. The me just can't handle the idea of not, there's no such thing as a non-special me.
No, there isn't. No, it's the very essence of self. Yeah, and of course, what a lot of me's do, they're negatively special. So you know, they're specially damaged. They're specially hard done by. They're specially deprived. They're specially traumatized. They're specially, you know, a lot of special. So when I talk about the specialness of self, people thinking, you know, well, most people don't feel good about themselves, you know. No, most sense of self is, they'll have 1 or 2 positives and a list of 20 negatives, but that's what makes them special.
Yeah. Well, it took me a long time. I suffered from depression for I would say, I want to say 40 years. Most of my life, to varying degrees. Sometimes it was less, sometimes it was functional, but I was really depressed, and it kind of ran in my family, and my parents had it, and it was such an eye opener when I was sitting there one day and I realized that I had made myself special by being depressed, because now I knew who I was. I'm the one who's depressed, and how unfair life is toward me. And if only I wasn't this, I then could, no, it was such an identity, but it doesn't, it doesn't seem obvious.
No, it doesn't at all. No, most selves will not even go near that. No. Yeah. Yeah, I suffered with depression as well a lot.
It's brutal.
It used to go in, it went in cycles in the story.
Yeah, it's brutal. Depression is just because, and again, you've talked about it. It's just everything shuts down to the bare minimum.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's dreadful. Yeah, I don't make light of that.
No, me neither.
Not at all.
Yeah, well, there is, and you've again talked about this, a compassion that as a me, you can't have this the same compassion when the me's.
No, because it's a compassion that, yeah, because it's really, and these are Tony's words, but I heard him say at every meeting he would say this, that this is the only compassion. And it was years before that even vaguely registered. I'd go, well, it doesn't sound compassionate. Of course it doesn't. This doesn't sound compassionate to self at all. And there is a reason, because it's not compassionate to self. It's saying self is illusory, which is a terrible insult, as you said. It's the most, it's more than an insult. It's terribly insulting to self and very threatening. And so there didn't seem to be any compassion, but of course there is great compassion in human beings being naturally what they are, which is not themselves. That's the illusion, that a human being is being itself. It's not being itself. It's just being. It's just being what it is. That's not, I am not being. It's just being. The same as everything else is just being what it is.
There's so much.
There's so much love in that.
I was just you took the words right out of my mouth.
Oh, sorry. We have to be careful if we speak, because you're going to say what I'm going to say, and then I'm going to say what you're going to say.
You're the brother from another mother. Wow.
Have we been separated at birth?
I'm telling you, well, I'm a little older than you, so you have to respect your elders. So
you're not older than me, are you?
I'm 60.
Oh, you are. You're this now. We could be, because you're the same age as my big brother. So I'm 50. You're only a year older. I'm 50. I'm 59 in a couple of months. 3 months.
Okay, well, you're 58, because I'll be. Yeah,
you're the same age as my brother.
Yeah, but basically we grew up in the same era, so my natural thing, and this is just my character, I've always been drawn to simplicity. So for me, like, people talk about the 1950s and 60s as a more simple time.
Yeah.
And if you look at the television shows, it was very lighthearted, and Billy can't get a prom date, what are we going to do? And now everything just seems so complicated, and you can't make fun of anything. You can't make a joke about anybody because it's taken personally. And
there were simple times, but really, I mean, there's really essentially there is no difference, really. We can tell stories about it that it was different then, but for self, the whole being human is being human. Being human is universal, and pretty much being me is universal. Of course, each me has its own specialness, but the essence of self is, you can talk about I'm quite happy to say that selves have the illusion of self has characteristics that are pretty universal, that we can, that we can share and say, well, it wouldn't matter if we went back to Roman times or Victorian times or whenever.
Yeah.
Me is me.
I know what you mean. A me is a me. However, I have to tell you, with the advent of the phone, I was coming out of one of the places I teach, a high-end private school. David Beckham's kid was in my class.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was high-end. And I remember pulling up at a light right as school got out. And I look over, and in the car, but it's a red light, the mom's on her phone, the dad's on his, and the boy and the girl, they couldn't have been more than, I don't know, 8, 9, 10, each had their own phone as well. So all four of the family.
Who's driving?
Well, it's a red light, so they had time to.
Well, you'd get prosecuted in the UK for that.
But I'm saying, I've noticed that, and I agree with you, a me is a me is a me. But this attachment to stimulation, I do feel has been ramped up.
Oh, yeah.
Because I can't go a day without checking my email. I got to get on Facebook.
Yeah,
and I can feel it. It's visceral. You can feel it.
Yeah, it's the same here. I mean, the first thing I do is pick my phone up. Yeah, I do. Yeah. But for me, it doesn't. I don't feel it's negative or positive or anything really. I don't see any. Most people of our generation would go, yeah, oh, isn't it a shame? You're missing out on. Well, you're not. It's just how it is. It's just what's happening. But you might miss a butterfly or two, which is a shame. Like you say, it's good to put the phone away so that you can see the butterflies at least.
Oh, no. I got to pull my phone. Yeah, the old would pull the phone out and take a picture. So I'd be looking at it through the camera, and then dead photos when I get home. And there the thing was live, and I completely ignored it.
I see that all the time, and it makes me want to scream a bit, but I'm just amused by it. It is a shame because, of course, the photo isn't the butterfly, is it? Isn't the fragility? It's dead, whereas the butterfly is alive. It's very simple. A photograph is dead, whereas a video is alive. Whereas the butterfly is alive.
Yeah, and that's what makes it amazing. When you see the butterfly, it's almost like it's live and anything can happen. There's that moment of there's no net.
Yeah.
So it's live and it's got an electricity that, and this is what I say about the me. The me deadens. I put a post about this the last few days, that everything feels half dead when viewed to me.
Yeah, well, it's gone through this artificial filter, hasn't it? It's in relation to, that is like an artificial a filtering, which you could say dilutes what is. What it doesn't really, but it has that flavor, because if I see a butterfly and I go, and the butterfly is in relation to me, now it never is. But as soon as I've got my camera out, then I've really killed it, haven't I? Because then I'm taking a photograph of it to capture it so that I can have it. Well, you can't have the butterfly. But that's all I want to do. That's all self ever wants to do. It's no different to how it used to be. You know what people used to do? They used to stick pins in them.
You just took the words out of. Stop it. Exactly. I was just going to say, there's only one thing I found more offensive was a butterfly. I go, so let me get this straight. you so love these butterflies that you freaking killed it and put it up on your wall like a trophy.
I know, but the thing is, there's nothing beautiful about a dead butterfly. Well, there is, but it's not, you know, where's all the beauty in that life, that that fragility? Well, it's not fragile anymore when it's dead. You know, it's not, it's dead.
It's not even beautiful. I mean, if there's I would barely look at it. If it was up a butterfly, I would walk right by it and go, eh.
It's true. Well, no, actually, it's there's a natural repulsion that human beings have for corpses anyway, for dead things.
Well, you would think that, but apparently because of taxidermy,
I know
people love hunters. I'm like, oh yeah, that's really. There was a guy, a UFC fighter. They said, oh, John Jones shot a pig from a helicopter. Watch the video. I'm like, oh yeah, that's really a tough. Boy, that guy really put himself out there. He's up on a helicopter with a high-powered rifle shooting down at a pig. Now, if there's
you so want to give the pigs a gun, don't you?
Yeah, that's a famous saying. It's funny till the rabbit has the gun.
Yeah. I'd love to give the rabbits a gun. Yeah, they do it around here. Around my way, it's pheasants. So there's lots of pheasants, which are a native Indian bird that were brought here 300 years ago. And now they're artificially raised just so guys can go out and they release them all and shoot them all.
Did you see that little girl on the internet? I had posted it. I don't think it got too many likes, but she couldn't have been more than 5 years old. This very beautiful little brunette little girl, and she's saying, "Mommy, I can't eat animals. I can't eat them. They're alive." Yeah. And then she said, "Well, what about?" The mom said, "Well," the mom was pretty open. She wasn't yelling at the kid. She was just saying, "Well." The little girl said, "Well," the mom said, "Well, what about fish?" And the little girl said, "Well," she thought about it. She goes, "Well, are fish animals?" And the mom said, "Yes." "Then no, I don't want to eat them either. You know, it's not very nice. How would you like it if somebody put you in an oven and cooked you? It's not nice."
No. No, well, I can't. I have to keep quiet here because I'm not a vegetarian or a vegan. So
it's okay. But it's okay.
But I totally get why. I totally get why people are.
Yeah, but I just love that the little girl at 5 had this. I mean, that to stick to her guns. That she felt like, okay, if fish are, she didn't know. She had to ask, "Oh, fish are no." And I love that she said it's not very nice to be put into an oven and cooked. It's just something hit me about that. Yeah, that doesn't seem very nice.
No, it's not.
And you'll like it. I was just watching a thing yesterday. You know, the fake meat has come, plant-based meat has come a long way. I could switch out a burger and you wouldn't know, Tim. I know you don't believe it, but they've gotten to the point.
No, I do believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do believe it. Yeah. Well, my ex is vegetarian, and I did a lot of the cooking. So I cooked with corn mince, and corn steak and chicken, and so I was virtually a vegetarian for years. But then I would always when I'd go out, I'd just sneak in McDonald's.
Yeah.
Like I was having an affair.
Are you seeing another woman? No.
I was seeing a Big Mac.
Oh, that's
and I'd have to have mince just like in case of perfume, but in case the smell of beef is on my breath.
Oh God, that's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny what the contortions when you're a me, what you go through to try and appease all the me's. It's just laughable. Well, I have to say, Tim, this has been such a joy to be able
Oh,
to.
it's been lovely chatting to you. It's very easy. The only problem we have is we're going to say the same thing.
Yeah, well,
that's not a problem, is it?
Yeah, well, but that explains why I keep posting your stuff, you know, like a rabid fan, because it always excites me. I'm like, this is just spot on. I just can't say it any better. So I go, well, I could rewrite it in my words, which I do sometimes. I'll put my comments in, but it's just so, I just am so happy. It's just, and I think that's what people feel, Tim, when they tune into you. There's a love and a openness and a joy in your sharing of this that I just think people feel.
Oh, thanks, Michael. That is lovely. Yeah, keep sharing it by all means. Yeah, it's lovely.
Thank you.
Mum just said she agrees. She's been really nice to me. I'm a bit suspicious.
Thank you, Pam. And maybe next time we have a chat, you can tell us one or two stories where Tim was naughty.
Always loads of those.
Well,
I was never one for, because this is, I mean, this, you could say, this is the ultimate rebellion, isn't it? This is the ultimate, it's the most radical. You couldn't do anything more radical than speak about this, because it's not, because it's against, it negates everything. You know, there's no one going to agree with you virtually. But then my character likes that. There is something. So, well, there's a bit of conflict because naturally my character wanted to be liked and to be part of the crowd, you know, to be accepted, but would not compromise, though, could really struggled with any compromise.
yeah.
And with this message, there can be no compromise. There just can't. And I wanted to compromise, you know, because you don't want to lose everything, seemingly. You know, you don't want to, self will hold on to any little, anything. It can just, if I can just, can't I just keep that? And this won't, life won't have it. You know, it just needs to take it all. It won't allow any compromise. And this is the most uncompromising, I say message, I don't know what else to call it.
Yeah, I've changed that. I used to call it a message. Now I call it a sharing.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, sharing's perhaps better.
Not in the words.
But, you know, but speaking about this, it is uncompromising, yeah.
Well, it has to be, as you said. It just has to be.
Yeah.
And I think you even know it. You can feel it. If you're, you know, you were talking about the veil the other day. And so 99.99% doesn't even work. There is no, that's not even, it's as good as nothing. I mean, it's, you know, it's sort of an all or nothing thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's all or nothing, and this is all and nothing.
How beautiful is that?
Oh, how beautiful is that? I mean, wow. I don't understand why everyone isn't wowed.
Well, the emptiness, when you see how full it is, it becomes, and this is, I think, the thing the me just can't handle. You know, you want the truth, you can't handle the truth. It's that this moment, there's so much going on here. I say moment, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Word. It's just when you realize, I'll just say this, for me, I began to realize that when I was obsessing about me, nothing else existed.
No, it's so
And
true.
when the me wasn't there, there was everything, the sounds, the taste, the colors, the smells. And I became aware of so much happening here that I was completely oblivious to.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Yeah. The sun never did revolve around you. What a great relief. I wonder why life's such a burden for me. because I'm the center of the universe. What more burden would you want than that? The whole of the universe revolving around me.
Yeah. Well,
how dreadful.
The funny part is when you realize your me has been trying to boss life around. Now that's funny.
Oh, it's hilarious. Yeah, good luck with that. How's that going? Because people say to me, but I must have some control. I mean, how's it going, that, you know, that controlling life? Is it going well?
Yeah.
How are you getting on with that?
No. But my favorite one, this is my absolute favorite, and I think you've said the same thing, when someone says, okay, Tim, I know there's no me, but that damn but, how many times have you heard? No. And
always, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the but is me. There you go.
Yeah.
As soon as you say, I know there's no me, but, well, that will be me coming in and saying, I can't be nothing. I can't let it all go. It can't all be lost. I need to keep something for myself, surely. Yeah. Surely I get to keep a little bit, don't I? No, none. No. And then the wonder of wonders is that nothing is lost in the losing of everything, in the losing of everything that was mine. There was nothing to lose.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Tim.
Oh, thanks, Michael. Yeah, it's great. We'll have another chat sometime. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, me too. Don't go away. I'm just going to pause the video and then I'm going to have some housekeeping.